Hello from my name is Yellow, and this is my top 10 favorite finishers list. I guess you could say it's going to list obviously the top 10 of my favorite finishers. So let's just get straight into it with number 10, which is the Gore, specifically by Rhino. Now, back when Rhino was in WWE and in ECW, I guess, the Gore was one of the most powerful moves at the time. I guess when he hit that, you were gone, you were out. I mean, the force he put into the Gore and everything was just unreal. I loved seeing it, especially when he was hitting people through tables using it and stuff like that. It just looks so intense, and you know, the way that people sold it as well, they just flop backwards. I mean, Rhino completely went into it. I mean, Edge's spear, he runs and then kind of drops you onto your back, right? I mean, yeah, but then Rhino's spear, he completely just takes you off your feet and slams you 2 foot, 3 foot back onto the mat. And you know, it was just so intense, and I love that move, and that's why it's my number 10. Now, number 9 for me is El Generico's Top Rope Brainbuster. Now, there might be a lot of people in here who haven't seen El Generico's Top Rope Brainbuster, and if you haven't, then you need to go check it out. It's it's my 9th favorite finishing move. Yeah, it's just great, especially in Shikara and Ring of Honor and everything when he hits it. I mean, it's one of those moves where it's so unexpected, and then when it hits, you just like, oh my god, I can't believe he's just done that. Because the first time I ever seen it, I mean, it looks like he's gonna go for a suplex off the top rope, and then he just drops them straight down onto their head, onto the turnbuckle, and then they just completely just fall backwards, and they're pretty much dead, out of the match completely. I mean, again, that's one of those moves where there's no kicking out of it. I mean, it's insane, especially if you haven't seen it, you know, and you go check it out, you'll just be like, oh my god, what was that? That was so good. Because it's a really good move, and that's why it's in the number 9 spot for me. Now, in the number 8 spot for me, it's Shawn Michaels' Sweet Chin Music. Everyone knows the Sweet Chin Music. I don't even need to explain what it is. It's just a super kick straight to the chin, and that's it. You're out. Lights out, knockout, everyone's dead and gone. And, you know, a couple of people have tried doing the same thing. I guess Shelton Benjamin used it. James Storm uses it in TNA. But Shawn Michaels' Sweet Chin Music for me is my favourite version of it, of the super kick, I guess, because, you know, he can hit it out of I guess anyone can hit it out of anywhere, but the way he just hits it, he gets his leg up completely right in your jaw and your chin, and it just completely just takes people out. And yeah, it's great, especially when he does the whole Sweet Chin big where he tunes up the band and everything in the corner. I like those type of moves where there's a bit of beforehand or after it, like the Rock's People's Elbow, where he does that whole thing off the ropes and then throw in the elbow pad and that. I like those kind of bits, although I don't like the Rock's People's Elbow. Sorry if you like the Rock's People's Elbow. But yeah, the Sweet Chin Music, it's got to be in the list, and that's why it's at number 8. So number 7 for me is Chuck Taylor's Omega Driver, and I know that a lot of people won't know who Chuck Taylor is. He is a wrestler who's been in Shikara, and I don't know where he is now. I'm not too sure where he is now. He might be in Ring of Honor, or CZW actually, but you know, his Omega Driver is one of my favourite moves again. That's why it's in number 7 spot. It's like a variation of the pile driver, obviously, except the face of the other way and everything. It's all messed up. He just flips them around, drops them straight on the head. It looks deadly, especially when you see it in matches. I mean, you can kind of just hit it out anyway, you know. I mean, people have just turned around and you just flip them up and boom, straight down on the head. I mean, it's a great move, definitely deserved of the 7th spot. And yeah, let's move on to number 6 now. So my 6th favourite finishing move is Cody Rhodes' Cross Rhodes. Now, this is just a great move. A lot of people, well, obviously, I'm guessing probably 99% of people watching this video will know what the Cross Rhodes is, because you wouldn't click on this unless you were a wrestling fan, and since WWE is the major business, I'm guessing you have seen the Cross Rhodes before. It's a great move, just the way he twists them around and they fall straight down on their head, and he flips around with them and twists and turns and everything. Everyone goes flying everywhere, people die, explosions in the background, everything. But I don't know, it's just a great move, and there's not really much else I can say about it. It's a great move, and that's why it's in my number 6 spot. So number 5 is Adrian Neville's corkscrew shooting star press. I mean, this move again, it's great. I mean, if you don't know who Adrian Neville is, he's a current talent in NXT, and you know, I think he will soon be pushed up to the main roster, but for now, he's currently in NXT as of recording this video, and his finishing move is the corkscrew shooting star press. Now, the video here that you'll be seeing of Adrian Neville on the game doing the shooting star press isn't the best because that move isn't on the game. Hopefully, if he's on the 2K14 roster, which I doubt it, but he might be, then his finishing move will be on the game. But his finishing move might be on the game without him, you never know. But anyway, it's a great move, and if you haven't seen it, you need to go check it out because it's just one of those top rope moves where it's just like, wow, I can't believe that move is just so intense and everything. I mean, I seen it first on NXT, and I went back and seen some of his matches as him when he was called Pac in the independent promotions and everything, and it's just great. So, you know, go check it out if you haven't seen it before, because fifth place in this list for me. So let's move on to number 4. So in at number 4 we have Sanjay Dutt's moonsault double foot stomp. It might also be called the Guru Stomp. I don't know. I think he named that for a while. But anyway, the moonsault double foot stomp, great move. He can sometimes do a variation of it where he like lands and then does another like moonsault onto them, stuff like that. I've seen that before. But again, it's just one of those type of moves where it's just the impact, the way he just lands. It's like he's completely just standing, he just jumps on them from the top rope, does a moonsault, boom, it lands right on their stomach and chest. It's just the impact of the move, it is so good, and when you see him do it on TNA, it looks so good when he lands it correctly and doesn't like look as if he's about to roll onto his back straight away. But when he lands straight facing up, like on his feet and straight into their chest, it looks amazing, and it's one of my favourite moves of all time. It's just a great move, I love it, and that's why it's at number 4. So let's get into number 3 now. So in at number 3 we have Petey Williams, Canadian Destroyer again. If you don't know who Petey Williams is, he's been in TNA and he's been in indie wrestling promotions as well in the past, but currently in TNA. And yeah, again, if you haven't seen this move, it's intense and you can see it playing out on the game right now, but you know, to give it the full justice, you've got to see it performed in an actual like video, I guess, rather than on the game. But you can tell even just from the video clips here that I've got up that the move itself is just insane. I mean, they drop straight down on their head from like a backflip type move for the person who's getting it like received, I guess, whereas Petey Williams just like front flips over them and everything. It is so good, it's a great move, unbelievable, and that's why it's at number 3. And let's move on to number 2. So number 2 for me is Randy Orton's RKO. Great move, everyone knows the RKO can hit out of nowhere. It's like the Sweet Chin Music, it's just out of nowhere, can hit it any time. I mean, there doesn't even have to be any preparation for the move or anything. Randy Orton can just run at you, hit it straight away, or just stand right next to you and just boom, down. It's like the DDP's Diamond Cutter, I guess, and other people who have done that move in the past, the Cutter. But the way that Randy Orton does it with the flare and everything, with the jump, it just looks so good when he does it, especially when he gets a person who can sell it right, where they kind of like jump with it. I mean, I've seen a few where he's hit it on Dolph Ziggler, right? Like kind of jumps as well into it, and then the head just goes slamming into the mat. Or I guess his shoulder first, I guess. But it's just an intense move. I love it, and that's why it's at number 2. And let's move on to number 1. So the number 1 finishing move for me is Brock Lesnar's F5. Now a lot of people be like, what, where's the blah blah, and where's the blah 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 blah, and where's the blah 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 blah? But it's my list, and these are my favourite finishers of all time, and the F5 for me is definitely number 1. I mean, I've been watching wrestling for probably about maybe 14, 15 years maybe. I don't know, I started when I was like 3 with my granddad and everything, watching it, and I've been hooked since. And yeah, Brock Lesnar's F5, it's always been one of the moves for me where it's just so good, and the impact and just the the whole excitement of the move. When Brock Lesnar has you up on his shoulders, you know what's coming next, and it's not going to be good for you. And yeah, it's the full package of the move. You just spin around straight onto their stomach and everything. It's just a great move, and it's my favorite finishing move of all time, and that's why it's at number 1. So yeah, that's my top 10 favorite finishers. What are your top 10 favorite finishers? Leave them in the comment section. I would love to go check them out, see if I agree with any, see if I disagree with any. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what other people think are good finishers, I guess. And anyway, that is going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have, you know what you gotta do. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.